Hello, and thank you for joining us on Fact Finders, coming to you live from the network service of Radio Nigeria, the largest radio network in Africa. Fact Finders is a program brought to you by the International Center for Investigative Reporting, ICIR, in collaboration with Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, FRCN, to empower listeners with essential knowledge on how to recognize and effectively combat misinformation. This program is powered by the Embassy of the Federal Republic of Germany. My name is Itoro Etukudo. With the rapid spread of information in the digital realm, distinguishing facts from fiction have become an increasingly challenging task. Today on Fact Finders, we will explore the reasons behind the vulnerability of Nigerians to the phenomenon of fake news, analyzing the impact, discussing potential solutions, and mostly raise awareness on how to navigate this complex landscape of information as we look at the topic Nigerians and fake news. To discuss this, we have in the studio Temilade Onilede, Programs Officer at Dubawa, Nigeria.
Thanks for having me.
And we have Opeyemi Kende, the National Coordinator, Nigerian Fact Checkers Coalition, and is also the editor of Fact Checkup, that is the verification platform of the ICIR. Hello.
Good evening, listeners.
Yes, you're welcome to the program. And to you, our listener, the telephone lines will be opened in the course of the program to make your contribution, but you can start sending your questions on WhatsApp to 0810 250 7579. I'll take it again. 0810 250 7579. We're also live on Facebook at the ICIR. Don't forget to include your name and location. Now to the issue at hand. So let's start with you, Opeyemi. When we talk about fake news, or what is the scope and magnitude of the fake news problem we have in Nigeria?
With the advent of technology in the country at the moment, we discovered that because with easy access to the internet, there are lots of things that people do in the name of getting engagement, in the name of catching crews, in the name of they need to malign the character of some personality or notable individuals. So and also in the midst of the current off-season election that is coming up in Kogi, Bayelsa, and Imo in the coming weeks, there have been increase in the barrage of misinformation that will come across online, and the actors are actually doing it to malign the character of opposition candidates, and it's as huge as that.
Okay, you just talked about how it has been affecting the country and of course even the political scene. But let's look at how it has evolved over the years. Fake news.
Before, when there was no phone, there was limited communication, and the ability to spread massively at the same time was so minimal. And but with cheap phones and access to data, anybody can post anything on social media platform. And mind you, you don't subscribe, you don't pay for registering on most of these social media platforms. It's free. And like they say, we are in a era of free speech. Everybody loves freedom of expression.
Of course.
And that is what is actually expected in a democratic society. the freedom of the people to communicate, to say their mind, to say their opinion on any topical issue.
Okay, we'll come back to you, Opeyemi. Let's look at how social and cultural factors contribute to the vulnerability of Nigerians to fake news. Timlade.
Okay, thank you, Itoro. So over the years, before now, let's say, we've realized that misinformation, disinformation is not a rampant thing. Like Opeyemi mentioned, advent of technology then increased it. It just brought it out to the limelight. Initially, we used to have superstitious stories, superstitious beliefs. Then, with the advent of social media and the constant development in technology, we realized that is evolving, and then people are tending to bring out the true nature of information, in the sense that socially, people are having different thoughts, different agenda. Culturally, also the same thing. So it's sort of evolving from beliefs of superstitions and all of that to a different view of the media entirely. So yeah, it's an evolving thing, and of course it's widespread these days, and it's something that needs to be tackled.
Okay, so what role does media information literacy play in combating the spread of fake news in Nigeria?
Okay, so there's a general saying that says that it's a common saying that what you don't know will not kill you.
Yeah.
I'm sure you know that.
Yes.
But these days, what you don't know will definitely kill you.
Okay.
Ignorance is sort of, for me, I see ignorance as death, right? If you don't know something, then there's a tendency that you'll be in the dark. Media literacy is very important because it helps us to be aware. Then we know that, okay, this is what is happening. Then that way we can control ourselves, we can control what we do or what we say or how we put information out. So when it comes to media literacy, it is important that citizens, first the media organizations, know that, okay, there's a problem of misinformation and disinformation. Then the citizen also need to be aware. So it is important that we are literate. We know there's a problem. We know how to handle it. We know how to critically evaluate and analyze this problem. So it is important that people are trained, capacity are being built. We build people's capacity to understand that, okay, there's a problem of misinformation and disinformation, and this is how we can be tackled. So it is important we actually spread the news, spread that information to people.
Okay, with everything you said now, you've just established the fact that fake news is rampant. It's happening everywhere. And then, can you share examples of notable instances where fake news has had significant impact on Nigerian society or even in the political scene?
Okay, so let's use a very recent issue: the pandemic, the coronavirus pandemic. So it's on a global scene. So it did not only affect Nigerians, it affect everyone. But then it's so peculiar to Nigeria because when COVID started in February 2020, if I'm not mistaken, I think it blew up in 2020, right? In February. When it started, initially you started hearing cases of, we are blacks, our color cannot allow, we can't get COVID because of our color, right? So that's misinformation. That's a very high one. Then along the line, we started hearing, take a particular dose of what's this medication, chloroquine, right? Take this, take that, just to people just kept spreading a lot of misinformation. So that, in terms of pandemic, that was a very big issue. Also, it's in the electoral and political scene. I think Opeyemi also can bear witness with this. During the last 2023 general election, there was a barrage of misinformation, really. And some of these things actually incited violence in some particular places. It incited, when a particular political party is trying to, of course, praise its party, trying to ensure that people vote for its party. You're spreading different information from what is original for a different candidate, right? So those are sort of instances that misinformation and disinformation has actually spread in Nigeria.
All right. The program is Fact Finders on the network service of Radio Nigeria. Our focus is on Nigerians and fake news. And of course, we have in the studio Tim Lade Onelede, who is the programs officer at Dubawa, Nigeria, and Okoyemi Kende, who is the editor of Fact Checkup, the verification platform of the ICIR. Okay, they are here to enlighten us on the dangers of fake news. So yes, Okoyemi, back to you. So earlier on, she mentioned that it is the responsibility of the media to raise awareness about fake news, misinformation, and the rest. So, what will you say exactly is the responsibility of these media organizations and even social media platforms in addressing this issue of fake news?
Media organizations in Nigeria have a lot of roles to play in mitigating misinformation and disinformation in the country. They are the fourth realm of the estates. They are the mouthpiece of the people. They are the voice of the people. And it is behoves on them to ensure the accuracy of media information being published on their platforms via TV, radio, newspaper, magazines. And it's also behoves on them to encourage people to imbibe the culture of verification. You don't just see things online because it was shared with you by a close family friend or brother or sister, and you just share it without verifying the authenticity of that information. So verifying the accuracy of information that we come across, either on TV, on radio, or newspaper, magazines, even on social media platform, we go a long way in mitigating misinformation impact in the country. And the tech platform also have a role to play. We know that currently Facebook has a misinformation team that pulls down contents which have been flagged by fact-checking organizations. Currently, X, which is now which used to
Formerly
be Twitter,
yes.
used to have such team, but since the new owner has been in charge, they have been surged in misinformation on the former Twitter platform, currently X.
Okay, so still on this, there was something I saw some days back where a particular news and media organization put out a story. The headline said something, and then I'm not going to say exactly. So people that saw the headline, they were now giving their own understanding, and then they already put it out on social media. So now this is just, I feel like it's just one challenge that media organizations will have. So what are other challenges media organizations will have in regulating and controlling fake news in Nigeria?
One important thing for media organization is capacity building. Most media platforms are not doing enough in terms of training their staff members. And if you empower your members of staff to be able to verify every information before it goes to press, it will encourage, it will make the information space safer for the consumers. It will also enable people to make quality decision based on the availability of quality information available in public domain.
All right, so this is the Fact Finders on the network service of Radio Nigeria, brought to you by the International Center for Investigative Reporting in collaboration with Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria. And we have been discussing Nigerians and fake news. We will go on a short break, and when we return, your contributions and questions will be next. Please stay tuned.
Uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
Fake news damages the reputation of a person, society, or an entity. Spreading false and unverified information often misleads or incites a people into actions that may be regrettable in the long run. Communities have been known to experience conflicts over misinformation. Do well to verify any information you receive before sharing it with others so as not to cause havoc or create enmity between people. Do not start what you cannot finish. Be sure you are sure about the information you're sharing. Verify that information today. This message is from the International Center for Investigative Reporting with support from the Embassy of the Federal Republic of Germany.
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
Yeah, good to know you're still there. And if you just tuned in, this is Fact Finders on the network service of Radio Nigeria, brought to you by the International Center for Investigative Reporting in collaboration with Radio Nigeria. And our focus is on Nigerians and fake news. And of course, speaking on this have been Temilade Onilede and Okoyemi Kehinde. Yes, the telephone lines are now open for you to make your contributions or ask your questions. The numbers to call are 0915 091 0483 or 0915 091 0482. Also, we're live on Instagram at the ICIR. So yes, back to our discussion. Let's look at the role Temilade. Let's look at the role fact check is playing in addressing fake news syndrome and how it can be promoted among Nigerian citizens.
Okay, so our work fact checking is very, very important to the society. So if, for instance, we have misinformation that has been put out that is incorrect and is misleading the people, health-wise, politically, economically, security, these are categories that can affect us as individuals and us as a nation. So it is important that we put out accurate information to counter or debunk this particular information that is likely or that has tendency to misinform people and in the long run maybe harm them. So it is important that we actually use fact check to speak the truth to the society, to mitigate the effect of false information or to mitigate the effect of fake news. So it's very important that fact checking actually goes viral in the society to mitigate false information.
All right, thank you. Once again, the phone lines are open for you to make your contributions and ask your questions. The numbers to call are 0915 091 0483 or 0915 091 0482. And of course, we are live on Instagram at the ICIR. Now back to you, Okoyemi. What measures can individuals take to critically evaluate the information they encounter and distinguish between genuine news and fake news?
There are a lot of things the citizens can do to ensure that they consume quality information, especially via the cyberspace. One is to know that because a video is in circulation, maybe of your religious leader calling for making allegations, you should be able to know how to verify to ensure that you are not actually watching or listening to a deep fake, because today, in today's world, we have technologies that you can deploy to imitate people's voice, imitate people's personality without the content actually coming from the person.
Okay, you said something, you should know how to identify fake news. Let's say a random individual that, doesn't know any of these things now and sees a news and maybe is just feeling that this news is not genuine or it is genuine. So how would that person be able to identify? How would that person know that this is fake news or be able to
thank you. I'll give you recent examples.
Okay.
That we have. Sometimes you will receive SMS with a WhatsApp link that you apply for a job somewhere and your salary is 30,000 and you should click on this link to join the WhatsApp group of your new employer, so to say. You look at yourself, you are not looking for a job. You've never applied for a job in the last 1 year. So how is it coming? That's one example of fake news. it's a typical example of a phishing scam. You receive in a WhatsApp group that click this link to access government palliative. The government promised palliative as a result of the hardship being experienced by Nigerians due to the fuel subsidy removal, but is yet to implement the directive, is yet to concretize the promise. And you see a link asking you to collect 25,000 palliative, that once you register, and after registering it, the link will tell you to share it to 10 or 15 friends or family members so that they can get theirs too. And after all that, it will tell you congratulations. And sometimes they request for your bank details or personal information. So some of these are examples of fake news that we are familiar with, and we should be careful.
Okay, we should be careful, but if you should look at it, there are still people pushing out all of these things. So what is being done to get these people?
I think we should critically think. We should think out of the box, because we get a lot of information every day. So when you get a piece of information, don't just take it in hook, line, and sinker. Look at this piece, look at it. Is this real? Is there a possibility that this thing can be fake? Look at the date this information was sent, because sometimes they manipulate date. The image, look at it. So, and when it comes to image being sent around, there are ways you could probably quickly verify images. You can using your phone, Google reverse, you can do that. And also, if you get a piece of information, say online, you need to critically, apart from reading the headlines, you need to go through the main text.
Exactly.
Don't just look at the headlines. Please do go through the main text, because some of us, most times, what we do is, because of our confirmation bias, and when I make confirmation bias, something that what's the word now, agrees with our existing beliefs. So when we see the headline and it confirms with what we believe initially, we run with it. That's all we need to know. We don't really go through the main content to know that, okay, what exactly is this story saying, or what exactly is this piece of information saying? So we just look at the headline and we are going to spread something that we're not. So we need to, apart from reading the headlines, let's look at the main text. Let's know what it says before we put out this. So it's also important that we critically think and evaluate messages or any piece of information that we get.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, you mentioned something, Okpeyemi, that you can just pick up your phone and then you get a message from someone telling you that so palliative is ready, click this. Yes, now, there are people that are actually saying this. I mean, there is a number to it. Let's say people in the villages that maybe are not well educated or something, they get messages like this and then they want to proceed. What is being done to actually curb, or should I say stop, these messages from being sent out to people? Because anybody can fall for it.
Thank you. The goal of the scammers varies, but most importantly, to collect people's personal information, which they can use for their scamming activities.
Yes.
And that's why this program is essential for Nigerians, because we believe that once they are media literate, they know how to identify such kind of messages, what to look out for when they see images shared with them, how to detect manipulated videos. Once they can know how to do that themselves, they will be able to think critically when they get such messages and be able to act accordingly.
Okay, so in this era of rapid information, okay, we have a call. Let's take that. Hello? Yeah, hello. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to you. Please, what's your name and where are you calling us from?
This is Barry calling from UTC.
I didn't get your name.
Barry calling from UTC.
Okay, please go ahead.
So I want to find out, this manhood stealing of the sort, is it fake news or is there an iota of truth about it? This stealing of manhood that has been circulated around.
All right, thank you very much for your question. So I believe you heard that.
Yeah, we are Africans. There is actually confirmation by heart that we have a lot of what we jazz, which traditionally we call juju in several places. So when you have a confirmation bias that juju works, anything people tell you that if you touch a man or somebody, the person's private parts will disappear, you will easily believe it.
Okay.
So recently we've been discussing this on our office platform, and it's really quite interesting because I think about 2 days ago I was at the office and a colleague of mine was saying that somebody was almost lynched to death because they felt his manhood was stolen, and the culprit was almost beaten, and police had to come in to rescue. So while my colleagues were discussing this thing, and so one of my ED actually, and some other persons mentioned the fact that some of these things actually is a medical condition that makes the stuff smaller than usual.
Okay.
So that can happen. And also, it can be that maybe some of these people actually, we really cannot rule out the fact that whether it's true or not. But then there's a medical condition that makes this happen. So there also the fact that maybe you have a bias against somebody, a thief trying to catch a thief sort of thing, and you'd be like, oh, this person has stolen my manhood, before you know it, people are going to gather that person and want to beat up that person, right? So these are really a lot of factors, and it's quite an interesting scenario so far.
Okay, so in one minute each. Yes, so in this area where we have rapid information dissemination, how can the public contribute to debunking fake news and fostering a culture of verification?
When you see a newspaper headline or headline of a report on website screaming at you, looking incredible, looking very unbelievable, be cautious. Think, can this person say this? For instance, there are some publications that the person occupying Aso Rock at the time was a Jubrin from Sudan, and the thing circulated widely.
Yes.
So when you see stuffs like that, you need to think critically that can there really be an impostor in Nigerian presidency? And sometimes most of these posts don't have known authors. You will just see the headline and the text, no author, no source. They will just say an anonymous source or somebody who was in UK when that thing happened. They don't. So those are some of the things that I need to watch out for.
All right, yeah. All right, thank you very much. So this is where we'll draw the curtain on the program for today. But the conversation continues on our Facebook and Instagram platforms at the ICR. So yeah, do join us next week Thursday at 4:30 for another edition of Fact Finders. We appreciate our guests, Temilade Onilede, Programs Officer at Dubai, Nigeria, and Okoyemi Kehinde, the editor of Fact Check of the verification platform of the ICR. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, and many thanks to the studio manager, Priska Okparocha, and the producer, Vivian Honorere, and also the engineer, Jonadab Anyanwu, and of course the social media team, Blessing Otoibi. I am Iteru Kudos.